to this episode of Who Gets the China, while we're saving our sanity while supporting our aging parents. Today's episode is When Your Mom Won't Sell, Getting Your Childhood Dollhouse on the Market. I'm really excited about today's episode because you're not only going to hear from me, you're also going to have a chance to hear from my mom, who we affectionately call Grandy, and she's going to share her side of some of these stories. So buckle up and come along for the ride. I'm not sure if this is another child of the 70s thing, but dollhouses were a big part of my childhood. Not the Barbie Playhouse kind. One of my childhood besties had the Barbie dream house, and I had the pool and the camper, so we definitely had plenty of Barbie fun. But I'm talking about the sturdy wooden kind with the open back, where you spent hours arranging and rearranging the furniture and playing family with the little stiff-limbed people flying up and down the floors, as there were no stairs. My parents are both very handy and liked to build and create projects back in the day. They built a huge deck at the back of our house together one summer and managed to stay married. One year, when I was about 5 or 6 years old, my mom was taking a woodworking class one night a week. I had no idea what went on there, but right before Christmas, I accidentally discovered it. So first of all, when I was like 5, you were making a dollhouse for me at the woodworking store. Do you want to tell the story about how that went down?
Oh, yeah, sure I do.
On Christmas Eve, I ventured into the typically off-limits project room at the back of our house.
Well, at the rear of the house, we had like a room that we used for storage.
It was a sort of rumpus room where tools and supplies were stored and projects were worked on.
Sort of like an inside garage. And you never went in that room.
I had a sixth sense that something interesting was hiding in that room, and it called to me.
And for some reason, you went in that room.
I quietly cracked the door and snuck in. Seconds later, I came running out, screaming, "A dollhouse! A dollhouse! Mom, Dad, there's a dollhouse in there!"
There's a dollhouse in there! And I had been working on this thing, cutting and painting and gluing. And I had to take it down to the class every week and lug it into the woodworking place and hammer and glue and what have you.
Uh-oh, Santa's gift was blown. But of course, I had no idea about that. Maybe this has happened to you. One year, our younger daughter discovered 2 bikes hiding in our basement on Christmas Eve. Once again, Santa was thwarted. Well, regardless of who delivered it, I was thrilled to wake up and see this darling blue dollhouse with yellow shutters waiting under the tree for me Christmas morning. It was painted the same color as our real house, and the rooms were decorated, complete with 70s wallpaper and avocado green kitchen appliances. My friends and I played with that gem for hours and hours. Eventually, it ended up in our house, and my girls gave it a second lease on life. And oh my gosh, I'm a little ashamed to admit it's still in my basement. But more on that later. We had that dollhouse. Okay. That was Dollhouse 1. And then we had the Dollhouse 2, which was the bigger, better version. Once my sister and I outgrew that simple blue and yellow model, we embarked on a craft project to build an upgraded colonial model, complete with a pitched roof and a skylight, a second-story patio, and get this, electric lighting. It was a huge upgrade. I think it was a shared project that my mom probably did most of the work on, including staining roof shingles and paving a patio, brick by miniature brick. The hallway wallpaper was a miniature version of the actual wallpaper in our house. How we found that, I'll never know. This house was less kid toy and more high-end hobby. We had fun decorating and redecorating it and rearranging the rooms, but eventually other endeavors became more interesting for teenage girls, so it lived a calm, peaceful existence in the attic for many years. All the tiny furniture was bubble wrapped in a box for safekeeping. Some years later, it was time for my parents to move houses, and a decision had to be made. Does it find a new owner in its hometown, or does it go with them on the journey across the country? A rational person might think this house could have found another home in Connecticut where colonial houses were all the rage. But no, for us, it headed 3,000 miles west to be available for possible future grandchildren, even though spouses were barely on the horizon at that time. The moving truck came, and the big, burly movers clearly had never moved a dollhouse before.
I asked the guy what I should do about the dollhouse. Should we put it in a box or, well, they didn't have anything big enough. He said, well, no, we can just wrap it up in bubble wrap, I guess, and we'll put it on the truck.
They were unaware of the structural issues in a house with no beams.
And he picked it up by the roof.
And pulled the roof right off.
And it all fell apart.
Well, anyway, once it made its way west, my mom repaired it, and the eventual 4 grandchildren rearranged the furniture hundreds of times, just like we did when we were kids. But it had to stay at Grandy's house. My sister and I teased my mom about how she meted out access to this house and chided her that she wouldn't let the grandsons near it for fear rambunctious boys would damage it or break a tiny, delicate chair. She tried to direct them to the more indestructible Matchbox cars and Smurf figurines. Yes, the original ones from the 70s. We still have those. When we remind her of her protectiveness of the dollhouse, she vehemently denies it. I mean, wasn't the point of saving it for 40 plus years to let it get some playtime? Anyway, fast forward a couple decades to today, and this thing is still driving me nuts. It's huge, and it takes center stage in the guest room closet at my parents' house. Yep, the bedroom with the side-by-side quilt-covered twin beds we sleep in as 50-something adults when we visit. This leaves virtually no room for clothes, so we can barely unpack suitcases when we visit, despite the enormous closet. My sister and I made a joint trip to see my parents. It's no easy feat to sync up our own work, family, and personal lives to do this, but we made it happen, also hoping for an hour or 2 at the beach and maybe a yoga class to relax. I mean, who am I kidding? But anyway, a girl can have goals, right? After planes, trains, and Ubers, because we refuse to let my dad drive to the airport anymore, we drag our bags into the twin bedroom. I open the impossibly heavy sliding closet doors, and there it is, the dollhouse, taking up virtually the entire closet. I've had it. This is ridiculous, I tell myself. On this visit, we are going to deal with this ball and chain at long last. So we dragged it out of its hiding place to a table in the den and discovered the furniture all askew. Somewhat harshly, my mom remarked probably a little grandson played with it and left it like that. She tried to play it off as if she was joking, but we know better. We both roll our eyes in unison. We start to dust it and unpack the furniture and actually delight in the memories of the items inside. My mom wonders if she should try to rewire the lighting while my sister and I fawn over the handmade Christmas tree my mom made. We find the tiny 6-pack of Pepsi Cola bottles hiding in the miniature fridge. We drank a lot of cola in the 80s, so this little item mattered to us. We ooh and ah over the little pet bed with the porcelain dog still in it. Of course, we have plenty of porcelain dogs in storage. We had a fun couple of hours dusting and cleaning and reliving some funny and sweet childhood memories. It's fascinating how these little items, like the red piano with sheet music on its shelf or the gold birdcage, are imprinted on your brain forever. We reminisced about the dollhouse days, the little miniature furniture catalogs we pored over, and the craft store on the post road that sold all the little goodies like shingles and glue. I try to convince my mom that another family with kids might enjoy creating similar memories, and frankly, we'd really like the closet space back. She made us think she was on board. We dusted off all the furniture, laughing about the broken chair legs while we staged the house for its upcoming listing. As with any big move, we drove each other a little bit crazy, packing it all up and arguing about which items should go in which box. I mean, shouldn't all the kitchen appliances go together? As we packed, my mom shared that when my great-grandmother passed, my grandmother chose to donate virtually every last thing she had to the Goodwill, leaving my mother with almost nothing to remember her by. My mom is still sad and angry about that, and I totally get that. This is part of what makes it so hard for her to part with sentimental items even now. Or, honestly, almost any item for that matter. But it's hard, like some of the things have emotional connection, right? Like
Sure.
that does, because
It was just
largely
pieces.
handcrafted. Yeah.
And
And then you have a lot of memories with it. And so I think like those things are harder to get rid of Because,
Yeah. Well, almost everything I have is emotional attachment. I mean, let's face it. Because loss is a problem for me.
right.
It always has been, probably always will be.
Oh my gosh, I start to wonder, am I an unfeeling, horrible daughter for wanting to get this house out of here? And now we've created another fun memory by digging it out and prepping it for its next phase of life. So can it really move on now? Maybe I am cold and calculating, but someday someone will have to do it. And it's not just this memory-laden dollhouse that will have to find a new home. It's a lot of things. Lots of simply random and meaningless things. The prospect of this is daunting to me, and I want to get a little momentum going. Thinking we're all on board with the sale, I ran the comps, called a broker, and posted it on Facebook Marketplace for $150. I guess the market for 1980s colonial houses is slow in California. We had not one nibble. As backup, I call the cute local miniatures consignment shop in town. Miss Maggie's graciously agreed to come get it, sell it, and give us 50% of the proceeds. Yay, I think. This is amazing. A win-win. Alas, this is a bargain my mother is not willing to strike. She is not willing to put a $75 price tag on these memories, and I begin to understand that now. I think it should go for at least $150, she says. But I realize this dollhouse represents time spent together creating something special. It's the family time and memories that matter, and she's not ready to let that go. Yeah, it's hard to say goodbye to things that there have powerful memories associated with.
Sure.
For sure.
Mm-hmm.
So the dollhouse sits, cleaned and dusted, in the garage, waiting for a higher bid. Who Gets the China is written and hosted by Kirsten Mao, produced by Aaron Bryce of Blue Ogden Productions. Our theme music is composed by Greg Fellman of Wind Sand Productions. Our cover art is by Jen Beam of Gigawatt Studio. For more stories and expert advice, follow along on Substack or at www.whogetstechina.com. If you enjoyed this episode, please share it with someone who might appreciate the conversation. And don't forget to rate, review, and subscribe wherever you get your podcasts. Until next time.